Welcome to the Style Sports Hub, presented by UF Health Medical Group Orthopaedics.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Sports Hub podcast presented by UF Health Medical Group Orthopaedics. I'm your host, Kyle Coppola. Thanks for joining us here today. I want to thank our partners that make it all happen: Lake Center Home Care, Lake Sumter State College, and United Southern Bank. Our podcast available on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and more. So check us out and subscribe. Really helps us out, guys. I appreciate it. Today I'm joined by my special guest, Logan Brown, who's a teacher in the Villages. Logan, I want to welcome you onto the program.
Thank you for having me, Kyle. Appreciate the Acres Media Group and Style Sports Hub podcast for having me on.
I still look over there too.
Sports Hub podcast for having me on. So
I'm like, where are we? We're here today. We're glad you're on the program. You're a native to the area. Grew up here. Played sports in the area, but you have some amazing stories to tell as well, which we'll get to that in a moment. But for people that don't know who you are, just sort of give us a lowdown of who Logan Brown is.
So, like you said, I was born and raised here. Was the first person in my family to go to college. I actually graduated from born and raised in Sumter County, was Lake Sumter County line, and then graduated from South Lake High School. First person in my family to go to college. I actually went to college on a baseball scholarship to West Virginia Wesleyan. Spent 2 years there and then finished up my undergraduate degree in Kentucky, Midway College, and then got my master's degree from Midway College as well.
So you've been bouncing around the country. So you've seen a lot of things as well as growing up in Groveland, which you went to school down at South Lake High School, and always loved the South Lake High School down there. You've obviously seen a lot of growth in the area. You're now a teacher at the Villages, which we'll also get to how you became a teacher in the Villages. But growing up in the area and just seeing the explosion that we have athletically, academically in our area, what's that been like?
Yeah, I mean, it's truly incredible to see. I know that coming from where we're from, there's a lot of people see being a small town as an obstacle, and I didn't see it as that way. I felt like I had to work harder to prove myself, and because whenever you go somewhere and you say, "Hey, I'm from Groveland," they're like, "Where's that at?" And I say, well, between Orlando and Tampa. Like, it is what it is. So, but the growth has presented a lot of opportunities, especially for young people. It's in Lake and Sumter County both. It's given them the opportunity, and I mean, it's not uncommon to see multiple college coaches coming in throughout the off season to recruit our kids, and I think it makes it easier for people to have opportunities now.
I think it is too, because when I came down here about 8 years ago, obviously I've seen even more explosive growth, but during then it was still starting to explode, and the Villages was taking off with their basketball program, and all their football program was really, really good, still really good, and they got some amazing programs there. But all the other programs too, I've seen some really good academics come through. I think one of the coolest things is Umatilla High School in Lake County. I think that they've done a really good job. Principal Frazier, I think this is the second year in a row that he's been Principal of the Year, so doing really good things over there with the Cambridge ACE program, which I think that is an amazing program for kids to have in the community. Can you talk about the Cambridge ACE program?
Absolutely, and so they also have Cambridge ACE down at South Lake, and I have a younger sister that's actually a student at South Lake right now. Yeah. So, but the ACE program opens up so many opportunities for kids to go to college, and when you succeed in something as rigorous as the ACE program, it really sets you up for success beyond high school and really prepares you for the professional world. So.
Yeah, it really does. And we've seen so many success stories of that as well. And not only just kids that are high academic standards. I mean, you see kids athletically that are taking advantage of this program, and whether they go on and play their sports the rest of their career, or go into the academics, it's good to have maybe an associate's degree when you get out of high school. I think that's a huge advantage to these kids. And
I will say there is so much advantage to taking full, let me see the best word to say that, full advantage of those opportunities to have that AA when you graduate from high school, because while you're in high school, that's free. And so if you can eliminate that debt for 2 years of paying for college, whether or not you're going to get a scholarship or not, there's going to be some expense associated with that. So being able to help families reduce the cost of college education by offering them that opportunity during high school is huge.
Yeah, that's huge, especially for kids in our county. I mean, then you get the NIL deals that are starting up. We'll see how that ends up going in the near future. Did you ever think that something like that was going to happen back then?
I will tell you, like looking back from an NIL standpoint, like it's mind-boggling to think that high school kids are on the verge of being able to get paid to do what they do, and personally, I would have liked to have seen something done for the coaches here in Florida first. I mean, I've seen NIL at what it's done at the collegiate level, but our coaches in Lake and Sumter counties put in so many hours for these kids for pennies on the dollar, and I would have loved to have seen something done for them to get their salary up with the rest of the country. But eventually that will come. I have confidence in what's out there in terms of potential legislation and what the FHSAA will do. And but I feel pretty good about where that's at. Kids getting paid in high school is just
Isn't that wild?
When I was a kid, getting paid in high school was you'd go to football practice in the morning, go work in the hayfield during the day, and then go back for your evening football practice. So NIL was a foreign concept, but it's exciting, and I hope that the kids will make the most of it for sure.
Absolutely. We hope that the kids are going to make the most of that. And a lot of great things we got going on. Of course, you've got the new districts this year that a lot of the schools are going into. The Villages is in the district with Cocoa this year, as well as I believe it's Astronaut over there as well. That's going to be very interesting. And I guess the way that it shaped out earlier was the Villages was within South Sumter was with them, and Umatilla was there. Umatilla decided to step down, and I think South Sumter might have won a petition to not be in that grouping. So I'm not really sure how that's all going to prepare. You got another really cool grouping over here with Eustis, Tavares, Mount Dora. That should be interesting to have all of them. So the new district should be interesting this year.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to it. And one thing that I am passionate about in both Lake and Sumter County is high school sports. And Lake County, I can't go to any baseball field without knowing somebody there. And football fields are likewise. What Ty Lawrence has done at South Sumter with that football program is truly incredible. Wildwood, up and coming. The Villages with their new facility, it's incredible what Coach Pettis has going on up there. High school sports in this area, in my opinion, is second to none. And I played high school ball here myself, and I tell people I had more fun playing high school ball than I ever did playing college ball. So
yeah, you did play in high school. You played for Groveland down there, South Lake High School. Talk to us a little bit about your career down there and how you ended up at West in West Virginia, and then sort of how you ended up going around. I guess you were a former healthcare executive. Want to get into that too?
Absolutely. So, like you said, I played at South Lake. I lettered all 4 years in baseball at South Lake High School. I also played football. I played football my sophomore and my senior year. So I played for Walter Banks my senior year and his first year at head coach at South Lake. And then my baseball coach, my first 3 years was Randall Kleckler. And then now Coach Witro, who is the head coach at Lake Mineola, was my coach my senior year at South Lake. So had a really good experience in high school athletics. Like I said, so competitive, loved everything about it, especially being around kids that you grew up with. And for me, that was the difference between high school and college ball, being able to go to war with the people that you grew up with, that's your boys. And then you get to college and you're just one of many, that you're one of the better ones from this area, but everybody's thrown into the same hat here. So, but I did go to West Virginia Wesleyan on a baseball scholarship, was there for 2 years. Ended up transferring over to Midway College, got my undergraduate degree in management, got my master's degree in business administration from Midway College, went into work in the healthcare field, served as assistant director of hospital in Lake Charles, Louisiana, Christus St. Patrick. The opportunity came up to move to Nashville, back closer to where I was in college, and Nashville is one of my favorite cities in the country. And I went back to the TriStar division of hospitals, was based at TriStar Stonecrest Medical Center for 3 years as a director, and then eventually had my hand on 8 different hospitals up there. And my wife, she was my girlfriend at the time. She finally finished her schooling, and she said, "Hey, are we going to get married or what?" And so I said, "Yeah, we'll do it." And one thing that I was passionate about always in terms of my professional career was sports. And I got certified to be a certified sports agent with the NFL Players Association in 2016. I had been working for 5 years in healthcare and was getting pressure to get married, and my wife was in education. She went to school to be a teacher. And so I said, well, if we're going to do this, where are we going to raise our family at? And to me, Central Florida's home is the best place in the country. And we moved back home in 2016.
Yeah.
And we got married at the beginning of 2017, had our first daughter who has just finished her kindergarten year at Webster Elementary. She was born at the end of 2017, trying for kid number 2, got twins. And so we have 3 kids that are 18 months apart.
Busy
so
guy.
Busy guy.
Busy guy. We'll talk about how busy you are as well, and how you got to the Villages Charter School coming up next on the sports. We're going to take a short break. We'll be right back.
Is pain or restricted range of motion keeping you on the sidelines? Get back in the game with expert orthopedic care from UF Health Medical Group Orthopaedics. UF Health Medical Group Orthopaedics provides robotic-assisted surgical joint repairs and replacements, post-operative care, and inpatient rehabilitation services, all close to home, right here in Lake and Sumter counties. And for those unexpected injuries, UF Health Medical Group Orthopaedics offers convenient walk-in and same-day appointments. To learn more or to schedule an appointment with one of their specialists, call 352-323-5665.
Hey, everybody, we are back on the Sports Hub podcast with Logan Brown. Logan, thank you for coming on again.
Appreciate you having me, man. It's been a blast.
Yeah, absolutely. We, I guess you got into, after your healthcare stuff, you were a healthcare executive for a while. You ended up getting into some agency stuff as well, sports agency stuff. I think that's really unique, doing sports agents and representing guys that deserve to be represented. Talk about how you got into that.
Absolutely. So actually, in high school, the best man at my wedding and my closest friend to this day was a guy named Jeff Demps. And I've always been around and been fortunate to be a huge part of his process. But I was also really good friends with a linebacker that came out of Leesburg, Danny Trevathan.
Yeah.
And he lived less than a mile from me whenever I transferred to school in Kentucky. And after his senior year at Kentucky, he had led the SEC in tackles and had so many different people pulling him in different directions. And he said, Logan, will you help me interview these people and see which way I need to go in terms of an agent? So we interviewed some folks, and he ended up picking an agent out of Hattiesburg, Mississippi. We flew to Hattiesburg, and he picked a guy named Bus Cook. And Bus has worked for Brett Favre and Cam Newton, Jadeveon Clowney, a lot of big-time names. And so when he signed with Bus kind of took me under his wing, and he said, hey, if you want to represent athletes, I can help you and help you get there. And so he was instrumental in helping me get certified with the NFL Players Association. I am a certified contract advisor since 2016. Had the opportunity to go work under a bigger agency, but that wasn't why I came back home. I didn't want to work under something big. I wanted to be more present for my family and do things on my terms. And so that's exactly what I did. I just kind of opened up shop and took it and ran with it on my own. And it's been so much fun. I've been fortunate to represent a lot of local kids, man. I told my wife, if I don't make a lot of money doing this, but I do right by kids that are locally and am someone that they can trust, then I've done well in life. So, like I said, I've been very fortunate with it, and it's been a lot of fun.
Well, do you remember the first person you ended up representing, and sort of where you're at now, and what's that like to represent a guy? I mean, that's amazing.
I'll tell you, it's so funny. They say on average you won't sign a guy for the first 2 or 3 years in the business because you're just getting started. And me, as soon as I was certified in October of 2016, I just started sending out letters to parents, and I said, you know what, like, if something happens, it happens. And there was a DN that played at the University of Tennessee, graduated from West Orange High School, and his dad called me. And I was like, oh, this is awesome. So I literally went in and met with his parents. I didn't have a website, didn't have anything. I just took myself. And one thing that I've seen is people don't buy your product, they buy you. And so I went in there and I was just myself. I put my best foot forward. And I said, would love to work for your son. And if you trust me with his future, I'm going to be there beyond football. And probably about a half hour after I walked out of their living room, they called me and they said, hey, you're our guy.
That's awesome.
And I mean, it meant the world to me. And to this day, he ended up signing with the New England Patriots, had a couple of knee surgeries. Then he played in the AAF, and he said, I'm going to hang it up and retire. And Corey's doing very well. He has a computer science degree and does very well financially. And he got married about 2 years ago.
That's
and
great.
My wife and I were at the wedding. So that relationship, like I said, if somebody is going through this process and they're going to put their faith in me, I need to stick to my word, and that's exactly what I've done.
Absolutely. Who else have you represented? I mean, you've done a couple of, I guess, a Red Sox player, a couple other athletes that are notable. Who else have you represented?
So in terms of locally speaking, Mount Dora High School alum Brett Heggie.
Yeah.
Brett, he was a Gator, and I did his deal with the Giants and the Raiders, and his parents, Bruce and Susan, both great educators at Mount Dora High School, fantastic people, and still have a great relationship with Brett. Had a birthday this week, and he texted me, and he said he's on the beach in Mexico, and I'm like, thanks, Brett, way to rub it in, man. But he's a really cool kid, and had the opportunity to work with him in his professional endeavors. Another local one that I worked with was Cinto Arredondo, the head baseball coach at South Sumter. That was a really cool story. We actually met at the funeral of one of our youth league baseball coaches, and I had known his family forever, and he had a couple of agents that were kind of jerking him around and giving him false promises. And I said, yeah, Cinto, like, it don't have to be like that. If you trust me, like, we can make it work. And and ended up doing his deal with the Red Sox. And I mean, he excelled, and he's got a really cool story of how he retired. And one thing that's really cool about the Arredondo piece is he was in spring training, and then he got to his minor league assignment his first year, and he had a kid that was at Marshall that was with the Red Sox now, and his name was Rob Kwiatkowski. And Rob, he said, hey, Rob needs an agent. Would you mind to work with him? I said, yeah, I'll help him out any way I can. So got on with Rob and got to talking to him, and he played for the Leesburg Lightning in his Florida Collegiate Summer League days, and started name dropping. He knew Tanner Clark, the coach at Umatilla now. And I mean, it's just, I'll tell you, the world of sports is so small. And one thing about being an agent, I didn't want to go and work for somebody big under another name. I wanted to put my name on it, because if good things follow your name, that's what's important. And if I put my name on it, I'm going to stick to what I say. And that's how I treat everything that I do. And my dad always told me growing up, all you have in this world is your last name, and you take care of that. So
yeah. And you've been taking care of it. And you mentioned Tanner Clark. Hey, shout out to Tanner Clark. That's the first time in 22 years that Umatilla won a district championship. And who did they win it against? Montverde Academy. Of all teams, they were able to beat Montverde Academy and win that for the first time in 22 years. So shout out to Tanner Clark. He's a really great guy. It's really good to see Umatilla sports doing well too, because for a long time, Umatilla was considered the punching bag of this area. And to see what they're doing over there and building the programs back, they got a really good basketball program over there. They got the right people in the right positions. And I think when you get people in the right spots, great things can happen. And you're seeing that at Umatilla. You're seeing that at Mount Dora High School. Mount Dora High School football is supposed to be really good this year. They're bringing guys over. Tavares is on the men. They're on the way back. So I think getting people in the right positions is very important, Logan.
I agree. I couldn't agree more. And like you said, Umatilla was a punching bag for a long time. When I was in high school, Umatilla was good. They had Jonathan Lucroy as their catcher, and then obviously you see what he's done with his major league career, but then there was that fall off. But you speak about getting the right people in the right positions, and it doesn't matter what you're doing, and it can be healthcare administration, it can be your agency, it can be the classroom, whatever endeavor you're doing. If you have the opportunity to put your stamp on it, it's identifying certain people's strengths and making sure they're in the right position. And when you talk about leadership isn't necessarily the person that has the most experience. It's the people that can identify the strengths of their staff and put them in the right position.
Absolutely. We're going to take another short break here on the Sports Hub. When we come back, we'll talk about Logan Brown and getting into a teacher's position with the Villages Charter High School.
Are you ready for your future to take flight? Whether you're graduating high school or looking to level up, Lake Sumter State College offers affordable degrees and certificates that will punch your ticket to success in a rewarding career. Plus, with programs like Direct Connect to UCF, your opportunities with LSSC are endless. So, what are you waiting for? Join us in Leesburg, Claremont, Sumterville, Four Corners, or online. Learn more at lssc.edu.
Hey, everybody, we are back on the Sports Hub podcast with Logan Brown. Logan, thank you again for coming on to the program.
Absolutely, man. I can't say it enough. I appreciate you guys and the opportunity to be here.
Yeah, we love giving opportunities to you and really getting to know people around the community. So some amazing people have come on the show, student athletes, coaches. It's been a lot of fun providing this to the community. And you talked about leadership before our last break. Talk about coming on to the Villages charter school. I mean, you talk about everything that's going on there with leadership with the Villages and just amazing what they've been able to build the last 10, 20, 30 years that it's sprouted up in our community. How did you get to the Villages Charter High School?
So it's actually a funny story, and it's all relationship based. I'll tell you the principal at the Villages Charter High School is a guy named Rob Grant. And Rob was my baseball coach my freshman year at South Lake, and he reached out and said, "Hey, you're certified business, math. You want to come up here and teach business?" I said, "Absolutely." So I actually went up for an interviewed, and he called me a couple of days later. He said, "I got a business position for you. Are you interested?" And I said, "Sure, I'll do it." And that was having never seen the facility before. And I actually interviewed at the old school at Buffalo Ridge, but the school year we were going to open up at the new Middleton campus. And what's funny is 2 days after I interviewed and thought I was taking a business job, he pulled the old switcheroo. Shout out Robin Grant for the switcheroo. He said, "Hey, how do you feel about teaching math?" And I said, "Well, certified math, I can do it. But scale of 1 to 10 and want to, I'd say probably about a 2. And he said, "Great, you're hired." Awesome. And so I actually ended up teaching 5 geometry classes this year, 1 business class. Next year I'll have all entrepreneurship, but wow. I think it's important as a team player, whatever situation you're put into, to trust the vision of your leader. And you don't have to necessarily like it, but say you're a high school football player and you're playing safety, but your coach wants you to come up and play linebacker. Trust his vision. He's been there and he has a whole picture of the organizational view. And I think it's important for me to be a team player and do whatever is asked of me.
Yeah, it truly is. And you see the team players and what the Villages has been able to build, not just academically, but also athletically out there as well. The perfect regular season with the football team quite a few years ago at the old school. And then, of course, opening the brand new school up. And Richard Pettis, the athletic director, does an amazing job with the Villages athletic programs. And over the course of the last couple of years, especially with the basketball program, talk about that. They've been to 2 state championship semifinals in a row. They got to the state championship 2 years ago, and that was a lot of fun to see the school go down there. Hopefully they are able to win a state championship at some point, but what a program they built the last couple of years. I mean, think about this. When they first started 20 years ago, I don't think anybody could have envisioned where it's at right now, Logan.
Absolutely. And I will tell you, Richard Pettis does a fantastic job heading up the overall athletic department, and the growth and the number of sports programs that they had even 15 years ago to what they have now, and the success that they've achieved across the board. I mean, it truly speaks volumes to the job that Richard's done. You mentioned basketball. Colt McDowell done a fantastic job with the program there. And for me, it's a culture thing. And the culture on campus is different than most places. Whenever you go in, I mean, they don't tolerate a lot of stuff. They hold people accountable for their actions, and it's a truly great culture to be around.
Hey, what was that like? Because you're one of the first teachers / professors I've talked to that made the move from the old high school, which the old high school, if you went to the old high school, you're like, this is pretty nice. Yeah. And then you go down to the new school and you're like, this is next level stuff right here. But you go and you're working at the old school and you transition down to the new school. What was that process like?
So actually my only experience at the old school was my interview. Like I walked in, they had the moving trucks out. They were like packing everything up and all of that. But by the time I walked on campus at the new school, I will tell you I was in shock. Like, this is a high school, and so I went to a very nice private college my first 2 years, probably $40,000 a year to go there, and the facilities and the physical plant of the charter school tops anything that I ever saw at the collegiate level. I mean, you look at not only the buildings and everything that they have going on, but then you look at the athletic facilities and it's truly incredible. And if you've never had the opportunity from the general public side to see it, it's incredible.
Yeah, it really is. From the weight room to the Olympic size swimming pool that they have at the Villages, just an amazing thing. But going on as well, South Sumter's made some improvements as well, capital improvements to the football field last year. They had a turf football field. They got a brand new track. I think that's really helped their athletics program as well. And it was needed for a long time, I think.
So I will tell you, South Sumter has been the premier football program in Lake and Sumter counties for a long time, in my opinion. And just like I said, the culture that they established under Emmett Sherman, and then with Ty stepping in to take over, Ty has been phenomenal and done a great job there. But like you said, to be able to upgrade the facilities there, I think that's going to play an important role to keeping that success going at South Sumter. Yeah. When you have somebody that's 10 to 15 miles away with the facilities that the charter school has, and now you have NIL open, I think that's crucial for Ty and his staff there to be able to keep those kids at home. And I think that's important for the kids to know, hey, just because this is over here don't mean I got to go over here. Right. We've got great stuff here. And we have a great leader of this program, and we can stay right here as well.
Another great thing is Chris Gauntlet. He's a coach over there, and he's actually the coach of the weightlifting program over there. Shout out to Mr. Chris Gauntlet. What a program they built with the weightlifting program as well. I know the Villages is trying to get theirs just to compete with South Sumter. South Sumter's been the premier, but Village is making a lot of gains as well with the weightlifting program. Now they get that beautiful facility. Not that they didn't before, but it's even better now. So these kids are doing a great job to compete with South Sumter. I love the competition with weightlifting too. They were able to host the regionals this year in that beautiful new facility at the Villages. And let me tell you, what a beautiful place to host a weightlifting tournament. I'm not sure if you were able to go to that, but what an event center. There's like 4 basketball courts, and it's such a diverse thing that you could do. Whether it's tournaments, they just had a basketball tournament there this weekend. What a space they have over there.
I'll tell you, and that's the auxiliary gym. But you talked about the job that Gauntlet does at the high school, and this will blow a lot of people's mind. But the weightlifting tradition and the excellence that South Sumter has seen actually starts at the middle school level. John Kinley gets his middle school football players in the weight room a couple days a week, and that's not something that's seen in a lot of Lake County schools, even because there's not really middle school football in Lake County. So that's ingrained in these young men at a very young age, and John Kinley's done a fantastic job. But going over there to the South Sumter High School, that's a way of life, and if you're going to play sports at South Sumter, you're going to lift weights, and so they've done a great job with that. But talking about what you said with the charter school and being able to have those facilities available for weightlifting meets, and I mean, there's going to be competition basketball tournaments, competition volleyball tournaments that come through there, and it's something that's truly special, and I think it's important for everyone to embrace it and come together around having something that close to us in our backyard.
Yeah, it really is, and just seeing it come all together and seeing it in stone last year was just incredible, and now we have a year under our belts over there with the Villages Charter High School, and you look at all these other programs, and not that I would say that other programs look at what the Villages are doing, and public school is public school, right? So it's a little different than the charter school system, but a lot of things that the charter school system does right. Do you think that could be applied to public schools?
Absolutely. There's a lot of initiatives that I think that the charter school does that you could apply to public school. I will say from the number one indicator of student success is parent involvement. Yeah. And so one thing that the charter school has going for it is the parent involvement hours that are achieved. But I think that what makes the charter school so successul has nothing to do with the facilities that we talked about. Mm-hmm. It's the culture, right? So you've got leadership people, and your people, your leadership, and the culture that's there. And if you have people that truly buy into that and can implement that at the county level, I think that that's so key to being successful.
You
across
mentioned
the
that
board.
too, because Mount Dora Christian Academy, a lot of that what you just said is the same at Mount Dora Christian Academy, and they're one of the top Christian academies, I think, in Central Florida. They do a great job over there. But one last question I have for you, as far as leadership and mentorship and all of that goes, what is the best advice that you can give people?
I will tell you the most important thing about leadership is be yourself, but be someone who's listening. My mentor always told me, if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. And so just surround yourself with good people, have an open mind, and listen to your staff. If whether your staff is a football player, a high school football player, or a nurse or a teacher, whoever your staff is, listen to them and empower them to do a job that makes them the best that they can be, the best version of themselves that they can be.
Absolutely. Logan, I want you to thank you for coming on to the program today, and looking forward to great things out of you as well in the future.
Awesome. Appreciate it, Kyle. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Want to thank our partners that make it all happen, UF Health Medical Group Orthopaedics. Also want to thank Lake Center Home Care, Lake Sumter State College, and United Southern Bank. Our podcast available on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and more. So check us out and subscribe. Really helps us out. That'll do it for this edition of the Sports Hub Podcast. We'll see you next week.
This has been the Style Sports Hub, presented by UF Health Medical Group Orthopedics.